Here we are, Wednesday evening. Been a very long day for myself and for Frank as well. And he's got some pretty chunky days coming up the next 4 days, which I'm sure we'll hear about on this recording. But I want to dive straight on into it because, it's late. I've had a long day. I've just finished a team call with EC Paul Jenkins. That was a great call. If you get a chance, I'm going to post the recording of that. So if you guys get a chance to listen to that, they call him the silent assassin. No one's ever heard of him, and he's a top 50 income earner. It's amazing, you know. And to be top 50, you need to be making 200 a year or more. So, that's just think about how much that is per month. And at least half of that being residual, gives you a pretty good idea of whereabouts, where they are. So anyway, let's dive straight into the call. I'm dying to hear how Frank's day went and what the plans are for the week. So regional consultant, Mr. Frank Schindler, are you there? My fine, lovely, gorgeous friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. You're amazing. And it's just been a really interesting day. I had some bummer calls, but I ended up really well. And so I'm really excited. It looks like we may be signing on a new consultant here as a result of today's call later. That happened about an hour ago. And so we'll share with you that in just a few minutes. But, it's been a good day, really.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, and I know you're super busy. I mean, you're mentioning something about your we'll get into the call in just a second, but I think this is kind of important, as far as how important structure is. And you were talking about you got this new job or something for 4 days in a church. And, I mean, how are you going to get your
work done? Mm-hmm. Well, and that's just really, I'm already planning this out. I have as I may have mentioned before, I have a janitorial and carpet cleaning company, and I'm very close to 70, and I'm still doing the physical part of this business. And so we're looking at, we've got a guy that we're hiring on that's worked with me for several years, and we're going to be doing about 15,000 square feet of church carpet cleaning and in multiple different areas. And it's back-breaking, excruciating, painful sometimes work. But here's what we're doing. I've got about 4 days, possibly 5 of this. And so I've already planned out that I'm going to be doing my ambit business after I get off work, because I start very early in the morning, tomorrow morning. And so when I get home at, say, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I have another building I have to clean. But in between there, I'm going to set aside time. I've already got my people ready to call. I've got my scripts ready. So we've got some very important calls tomorrow. One is with a pastor friend in Houston. Another is a former senator of the state of Texas. That's a friend of mine. And I've got a young man that's a bit of a businessman that I've worked in ministry with over the years, and 2 or 3 others that we're already lining up, and I've got those calls ready to go and the scripts going. So we've got to do that. That's the only way we can do it. And the pressure is good. I like it. I love that good pressure, not the horrible stress factor, but the good pressure is good. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and good for you. I mean, that's exactly what the Purge Call is designed for, is to help people still get the ambit business scheduled and fit into to your busy day, because everybody's busy. Everybody thinks I'm the only one who's busy, but sorry guys, I have to lay this on you, but you know what? We all are busy. And it's only those who are going to set the time aside to make the calls that are going to make it. And here we have a man who's, as you almost said, almost 70 years old, got 4 days of work cleaning carpets for the church, plus his other cleaning jobs, plus, because he's a responsible man who knows he's got to put the food on the table for his wife, roof over your head stuff. And so that's great, but you still put the time aside for your ambit business, because you know that's what's going to stop you doing this type of thing. So good for you, man.
That's right. Good. Yeah.
And there's a lesson.
Richard, if I could, I could also say this: that it is extremely important that you pre-plan your days. And this particular week is, and I was telling one of my consultants that was with me tonight, and we were doing some training with him. I was that this structure is absolutely essential if you're serious about this business, and to put these 5 basic things into your script each and every time makes it absolutely so easy to do. And I've been looking for this for months, and it's been a phenomenal week. I've done more in this week than I probably did in the last month as far as my business is concerned.
Wow. Well, that is true testimonial, and I'm delighted. You know, again, I don't think there's anything new specifically in what we do. It's just recognizing that this is a job for a while. You know, that you have to give some commitment and time to, like you do your job. If you want to pass an exam at school, you have to dedicate some time to it. Exactly the same way, and why we would think it was any different for our ambit, I don't understand. But let's dive straight on in, Frank, if you don't mind, and let's kind of do this chronologically. Let's just go through the day and talk about who you spoke with and the type of approach you took, and if I can interject every now and again if there's a coaching opportunity. Otherwise, I'll just let you go on.
Okay. Well, I started off, it was like mid-afternoon, and I started making calls. This is, again, on the list that we started off with on Sunday. And we're actually working on these voicemail calls. And so the first 4 calls that I made were voicemails. And so I'm numbering those calls. This is the 3rd call on 3 of these, and the 2nd call on 1 of them. And I simply made this statement on the 3rd call. I said, "Hey, this is Frank." Left a couple of other messages, and hope you're okay. Give me a call back. Thank you. And so I did that on Marcus. I did that on Zach. I did that on Misty, and then the 2nd call went to a friend of mine, Pastor Chris, and this is where I had left him the message. "Hi, this is Frank. Sorry I missed you earlier today, and just give me a call. It's important. Thank you." And so that was kind of the first part of this. I was out doing another cleaning job, and all of a sudden I'm running back home because I've got a 7:30 presentation, phone presentation that I rescheduled from last night, and lo and behold, Pastor Chris calls me. Now I'm on the road. I'm getting ready to go into the gas station, and I said to him, "Chris, I am so excited that you called me, but unfortunately, I only have a minute. I've got to go to. I'm on my way to make another conference call, but I do have a minute, and I've got to stop and get gas. So let's, if you've got a minute, it's great." So, and here's how the script basically went. Hey, after I said I have a minute, I was thinking about you and your wife, and wanted to catch up a little bit, but only have a couple of minutes before I have to go to this call. Saying I started a new project recently, part-time, to supplement our income. And, well, I thought of you guys, and it may or may not be your cup of tea, but I believe that you have lots of great connections as a pastor, and so I wanted to give you this opportunity. And then I said to him, "Chris, I need you to take a look in the next 24 hours, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to really do anything the rest of the night." So he immediately said, "I really don't think I can do that." I said, "How about Friday?" He said, "No, I really can't commit to that." And he said, he kept talking about trying to feel me out. And he said, "Just send me the website and I'll look at it." I said, "Well, that would be nice, except for, I want to make sure that you're able to get to the website." And he said, "Hey, I know all about that kind of thing. I've been there. I've seen those things." And he said, "I will assure you that I will look at the website." And I said to him, and I don't know if this is where I may have blown it, but I said, "Chris, I don't normally do this, but I trust you with this. And if you can look at it tonight, then that would be great. He's going home early, and so I went ahead and I texted him the website. And again, I don't normally do that, but because of who he was, and I knew that he was, and I said I will get back to you, and we'll follow up with you in the next 24 hours. And so that's kind of where we left that one. I'm not sure. I think maybe I probably should have said, well, let's just wait until you do have time or something like that. So what's your thought on that, Richard?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'm just going to go to slightly before that project and talk about the voicemail calls that you did.
Okay. Yes.
The couple that were the third time calling, I would be a little bit more emphasis on are you okay, rather than just I hope you're okay, call me back, blah blah blah. Because I hope you're okay is just like have a nice day. I would be a little bit more
okay.
Is everything okay? Like you're expecting a call back, and if they're not calling you back, they must be dead somewhere. So you got to say, but are you okay? Give me a call when you get a chance, because that's going to just prod them a little bit to do that. And then as far as Pastor Chris is concerned, you did great. I'm glad he called you back. You didn't mention your why, which I like mentioning your why because people then stop listening.
Well, I actually did. I just didn't tell that part. I actually did tell him that we were really working on our retirement. So I just left that part out, but I did actually tell him that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, do me a favor. Don't leave those parts out because
I didn't mean to, but
I
yes.
I understand.
Yeah.
But then the reason why we use our whys is because people will listen with their heart and not their ears, and we need to make sure that with their heart and from a passion standpoint. You did great. The only thing I was a little interested to find out why you took this approach. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm genuinely interested to find out why, and if it's something that makes sense, then I would be interested to do it myself. You mentioned I need you to look at this in the next 24 hours. Was that a thing you learned from someone else, or was it because you're going to be busy with the carpet cleaning for the next few days?
Well, yes, and that is true because I figured I could get back with him tomorrow. I knew that I had a conference call. I also knew because of what he told me that he was going home to spend time with his family. And so, I didn't see any place in there, but I didn't want to stretch it out 2 or 3 or 4 days either. So that's why I put that kind of pressure on it. And a lot of times I'll ask people right up front, are you near a computer? Or something to that effect, and to where we can get them, to look at it right away. So yes, that's the only reason why I did that, because I was pressured a little bit for time, and I knew he was as well. I was trying to be really considerate of his family time as well. So
I wonder how that came across to him. I wonder if he realized
he was absolutely. Listen, Richard, he was absolutely ecstatic. Number one, that I'd even called him. I hadn't talked to him in a couple of years. And he did ask me, he said, is this the same thing you did before? And I said, no, this is much better. So, because I had approached him about my other multi-level thing about 2.5, 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago now. So yeah, he was a yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to look at this,
good.
And I will. It was like because we were redoing the relationship a little bit, and we got excited about that. But he was so gracious and so kind, and just said
good.
yes, yeah. And I think
obviously,
because he respects me and I respect him.
Right.
Go ahead.
Of course, and I think with you both being pastors, I think that's very important. But the reason why I bring that up is on the team call I was with executive consultant Paul Jenkins, and he's a top 50 income earner, and no one knows or for a while didn't know who he was. They do now, because he's a kind of a shy person, this type of thing. And he really built his business very much alongside what we do on the Purge call, which is really taking the time to establish the relationship as much as possible. Obviously, we don't have much time in what we're doing. We want people to take a look at what we're doing, but we try to stay off the pressure angle, and so we want to make sure that we maintain the relationship. So, but now I understand how and why you said it in the context of it. I completely get it.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who are listening on the call, if there is no pressure like that, I would not start giving people a timeline to watch what's going on. I know some network marketing companies that teach that way because it so-called, in quotation marks, creates urgency. No, if you call me and say, hey, take a look at this and I need you to watch it in the next 24 hours, I can immediately feel my hackles going up. Unless it's a situation like you were talking about, Frank. Again, that's totally cool. I completely get it. But in a normal situation, I would avoid that. I would be more respectful of someone's time, and I don't think it's necessary. My team is growing as fast as anyone else's in Dallas, and I do it with patience and courtesy and respect and treasuring the relationship. And business is there's a way to do business. So that would be a little bit of a concern. But again, now I know what it is. You're perfectly fine. So fingers crossed. He'll take a look and let's see what happens.
Absolutely, it was a wonderful call, and we'll be following up with him, and I'll be actually going up to his church and visiting with him. I told him that I would come up and take him out to lunch, and so that will definitely be a plus. So, but yeah, that was Chris.
That was a win. You got an opportunity.
Oh, totally a win.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's hook that up for our score on Sunday when we tot up the scores.
Okay, yes, and I'm going to mark that down myself. So the other one was a lady by the name of Sadie, and let me give you a little background if I hadn't talked about this that much, but this is a lady that I was actually talking to a gentleman at this other establishment that I work clean for, been there for many years, and he had already been in Ambit and had dropped off, and he was interested now in reestablishing as a consultant, and she happened to come on the scene, and so she was right in the middle of this conversation about 2 months ago. And so the call to her was I left her a voicemail this morning and basically just told her, hey, this is Frank, it's important, give me a call. And lo and behold, again, I was on the fly, and she calls me, and so I happened to go through my mind again what I had already written down and had rewritten a couple of times. And so this is the basic conversation. Hey, Sadie, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you so much for returning my call. I actually only have a minute or so before I get on a conference call. But my wife and I, we are so excited about the success that we're having with Ambit, because she already knew about Ambit, and how we are building a great income residual part-time business. And I do need to apologize, because when you and I and this other gentleman were talking about Ambit, you only got part of the story, and it's like reading a book. If you only read the first chapter, you only get that much of it. And so I want to give you the whole story, and so I simply want you to take a look at this. It may not be something for you, but you may know somebody that might be benefited by. And at that moment, she said, Frank, I'm so sorry, but I am running 2 businesses. I am doing seminars. She's a seminar teaches in seminars. I'm in the process of moving. I'm just this and that and that. And I said, boy, I sure get that one. I really, really get that. And I totally understand what you're going through. I simply want to tell you that you can run this business alongside of what you're doing on a part-time basis. She said, no, I really can't. And I really don't have the time. And so she she left with a great note. She said, we want to continue the relationship. She's in ministry, and so are we, and so she's excited about what she's doing. And I didn't really push her at that point. There was not really a point to push. What's the point? She'd already.
You don't want to push. No, this is where again, patience comes in. Again, someone else would have pushed harder, and it still would have been a no, but also there would have been some damage to the relationship. When someone tells me what they're telling me, you dealt with it perfectly. You said, I've got two businesses, I'm moving, blah 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 blah, and you said, well, this is a business you can do alongside what you're currently doing. She says, no, really. Then that's it. I'd say, okay, no problem, and I'd immediately start sympathizing with what she's doing. And I would immediately, I know she's going to be on my drip list for a call back in 3 months or 6 months. I'll still get back.
Exactly.
It's just not right now. But the thing is, because she knows how nice you were, because there was no damage in the relationship, when you call her back in 3 months or 6 months, it'll be perfectly fine because you didn't mess it up first time round. So that you dealt with it perfectly, and certainly you shouldn't have pushed it. Do not apologize to me. I'm sorry I didn't push it further. No. There are other leaders that would have said you could have kept going, and I'm like, no. Just my opinion, by the way, just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but in my book, I do not want to push hard. That is not the business I want to run. So I'm right there with you, Frank.
I appreciate that because when we left the call, just like with Chris, it was, hey, I'm excited to get back with you, and we'll talk about some ministry things. So we're building that relationship. But she's she's actually in the middle of selling her house and scaling down, and just a lot of stuff going on in her life. So yeah, it was a great conversation. We both smiled as we said goodbye, and it was good. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Should we go on here then? I've got one more that is really, really good, and I'll tell you the players in this. First of all, this is OCL that we had contacted and were supposed to do last night on a presentation, and I thought, well, that's gone, Well, I had sent him a nice text and left some messages, and as a result of that, he texted me about 45 minutes later, which was past what we could do, and said, I am so sorry my battery was dead on my phone. And it went right to voicemail. So this guy is a man of integrity. He would not have any reason to lie. And the reason I can prove that is because of what happened tonight. So here, I get Robert White. I have Ron Stroud, who's one of our newest consultants, invited him over to sit alongside of me. I'm showing him exactly what I'm doing. I'm going through the process. I'm saying, okay, we're watching the clock. I've got my website set up on my text, and I'm ready to push the button at 7:30. I had pre-text OCL at 10 minutes before the call. Said, I'll meet you on the call. Be ready and at your computer. Boom. And texting that. When I called, he answered the phone immediately. I'd already prepped Robert White in advance, probably an hour and a half before, and so I said, okay, let's get to the website. And this is a very, very good point, and I really want to bring this across. When I'm not a real fan of just giving somebody a call and giving them my website and say, okay, I'll call you back in 30 minutes. And here's the exact reason why. When I tried to get him on my website, I had texted to him, and he could not get on. It took us 5 tries. I finally ended up emailing it to him so he could actually click on it, and he finally got to the website after 5 tries. If I would have simply given him the website, he would have lost it. He would have said, no, I'm not interested, boom. So I stuck with him, and I could actually hear the videos. And while he's doing the videos, I'm texting Robert. I'm on video 1, 2, 3, and we're going back and forth. Fourth one comes up, and so I get OCL, and I give him that question. What kind of jumped out at you? What did you find important? And he talked a little bit about helping people. And I said, hey, hold on. And at that moment, I didn't, I just simply went and got Robert on the 3-way. And I said, hey, OCL, I got my business partner on the line. He's been at this a lot longer than I am. He's a senior consultant. He's a great friend of mine. And I went back and forth and made the introductions. And I backed out and simply let them talk. And they went on for, I guess 25 minutes. And I we're just sitting here enjoying the conversation. Ron is here listening to the call, and he's growing and learning and developing. And at the end of that, here's what happened. I came in on the call, and we were talking about the different. Robert was talking about the different areas that we're moving into, and so I said, "Hey, Robert, I don't think you mentioned Japan." And he said, "I sure didn't." So we talked a little bit about Japan. He got all excited about that. And then I said, okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, did the 1 to 10 scale, if 1 being like you're not interested at all, and 10 being you're ready to get signed up tonight, where are you? He said, well, I tell you what, I'm extremely interested. But I don't feel like I can sign tonight because I've got several properties and I'm trying to get ready. And he said, I will probably do this in 2 weeks. And I said, oh, okay, well, that's great. I said, maybe we could, what would you think about going to a live presentation this Tuesday? He said, well, that'd be a great idea. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will pick you up at 10 minutes to 7, and I will take you there. And so Robert jumps in and said, yeah, I started talking about how great these meetings are. And we're doing these meetings here in Mesquite, as you know. And so that's where we ended up, and he's going to go with me on Tuesday. And he is another man of great integrity, so he will do exactly what he says he's going to do. That was it.
Very good. Very good. I'm only interested in one part. Everything in that was absolutely perfect. But I have one question. It's actually nothing to do with the purge call. I'm interested in the three-way call. Because the way I run my three-way calls is, and it could, and I'm not casting any aspersions here. I'm just making sure that people who are listening in know what to do when they're the people who are asking for a three-way call. You've watched lots of videos. I love the way you monitor the whole thing. By the way, I think that's a really great idea, and that you can keep your three-way person who's waiting exactly knows where it is and get to be ready for the call. And then you come up with the question, what jumped out at you, what was important to you, et cetera, which is great. I always say, did that make sense? All good, valid ways to introduce it. And then the three-way call comes up, and that's great. But here's where I'm confused. Is Rob's doing the call, Rob's doing the three-way, and you said, hey, Rob, don't forget Japan. And then it came to the situation.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That Robert White. Right, Robert White. Right, but
who said I think you forgot Japan?
I did that. Yeah, but we were at the end of the conversation, and it had gone on for like 20 minutes, and so I came in there, and that's what I dropped in there, and the conversation was coming back to me at that time, so we were wrapping it up.
And let me now ask you a question, and this one's more important than that one. Is you were the one who said to him, I just want to find out where you're at. Are you at a 1 or a 10, blah, blah, blah. You said that, not Rob, right?
Yes, I did that one. Yes.
Okay. This is raising a little bit of a red flag to me, and it's a coaching opportunity, I hope, for both you and Rob. And I don't in any way want to de-edify either of you in any way. You're both great at what you do. The one thing that is so important in what we do is being duplicatable. In a three-way call situation, not everybody is as good as you, Frank. And so I think it is the job of the three-way call person to do everything. The three-way call should be, introduction, edify you. The first thing I do is say, listen, you're the great person with Frank. He's one of the best people in the area, blah, 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 blah. And I edify you. And then I'll answer any questions. And then I'll come towards, do you have any more questions? No. And then it's my responsibility to make sure that you or the person who's geared up the three-way call knows what to do next. But OCL, if he's arranging a three-way call, he can't be the guy who says, oh, you're a 1 or a 10 until he's experienced as you are. And so it's very important that the person doing the three-way call gets to the point. Are there any more questions? No. Okay. Well, it's really important. Forgive me for asking this question, but it's really important that Frank and I follow up with you appropriately. And so we want to kind of get a guide or get a feel for where you're at. Are you a 1 or a 10? 10 being, you're ready to get your websites going right now, or a 1 being, just not interested. And that's perfectly fine. Either's perfectly fine. And then I'll shut up and wait for him to answer, and he'll say exactly what he said. And then based upon the score out of 10, 1 to 5, I'd probably say, or 1 to 4 maybe. 5, sometimes people like to use it. 1 to 4, I'd say, listen, it doesn't sound like, I'll take it away from them. It doesn't sound like it's the right timing for you. So perhaps what you can do is try the service, become Frank's customer, and try the service, and we'll look again. We'll circle back around again in 3 to 6 months, something like that. Sound good? And then then they'll either do one of two things: say, no, I am interested, or they'll say, great, okay, thanks very much, and they'll become a customer. If it's like a 5 to a 7 or 8, I'll definitely get them to a business presentation, just like you did, and that's great. If they're a 9 or a 10, I'll say, great, sounds like you're ready to get going. What do you want to call your website? But I did all of that. You were sitting there listening. So you now know, and then I'll say, sounds like you're ready to get going. Great, okay, Frank, here's what we need to do. It sounds like OCL's ready to get going. Just pull up the page there and let's get his websites going, okay? And you'll say, yeah, okay, great. And then I will say, I'm going to get off the call. OCL, great to meet you. Frank, make sure you've given OCL my number just in case he wants to talk to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll get going and I'll go. And then it's just you. It's not a slowly fading off interaction between me and the person. It's cut and dry. I'm doing it all. Then I stop. Then you take over, and you know what to do.
Okay.
And here's the other thing. Forgive me, I'm on my pulpit. You'll have to forgive me, because I'm very passionate about doing this right, because it's easy to do wrong. Is after I've just geared all that up, the person in your role, don't wing it now. Do what we just agreed. Say, okay, OCL, what did you? I'm just going to need a little bit of information from you. Bang, straight into getting him going. Not saying, oh yeah, we've got this going on. What we've got. So you're talking right out of the deal. The deal's done. He said yes.
Right.
He's a 9 or a 10. He's ready to go. So you sign him up. If it's like the business presentation, you say, OCL, so you're let me get the address for the business presentation on Thursday. You're following the instructions that I did at the end of the three-way call. And if it was the other one about becoming a customer or whatever, say, okay, well, let's get the details for having you started as a customer. But probably what you should do is send me over your bill first to make sure that we can save you money and not put you in harm's way in case you're in a contract. But my point being,
exactly.
My point being is that is duplicatable, my friend, because whilst you are a qualified RC, you were in the place of the equivalent brand new MC asking for some help from Rob. So
right.
Again, you're not my team. I love you like a friend and a brother, and we are the Ambit team, and it's not my place to coach you in that way. But you and Rob need to sort that out to get that absolutely right, because otherwise it's a little messy, and you're going to have a problem when that starts to duplicate down the line, because you'll start having brand new MCs interrupting the three-way call, and that is not a good thing.
Okay. Super. Oh, I love it. That really helps fine tune it, and it is strange because at the moment I did that, I said, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble." I knew I was getting into deep water, and I seriously did. And by that time, it's too late. You've already gotten yourself in, and didn't know how to get back out. So yeah, you just confirmed everything that I knew I shouldn't have done, and but those are things that we can correct. Fortunately, OCL looks like he's going to come on board, and we'll probably get that done on Tuesday. So,
there's no
but we're excited about it.
With someone like OCL, there's nothing you could have really done to have messed it up. He sees it, he gets it, he wants to do it, so you're fine. But my point is that this is not in any way de-edifying you, Frank, because you'd be perfectly qualified to do a three-way call too. But when you're doing the three-way call, you do the three-way call role, and the MC you're doing it for, or whoever you're doing it for, shuts up and listens, and you control it. If you don't happen to mention Japan, you don't mention Japan. It'll come up. It's not going to be a deal breaker whether Japan's there or not. If he gets it, he gets it. But anything that de-edifies a three-way call guy is not a good thing. So there is a right way to do this, and there's a wrong way to do this, and there's not much gray area in there. So a little bit of coordination between you and Rob. Rob's a great guy. He was on the team call tonight, and he was. We were briefly texting afterwards. I love Rob to death. He's a great guy. Super humble and very coachable. So I know he'll be open to this. So perhaps Frankie maybe could play him this portion of the recording so you two can have it coordinated, because I know you like him doing your three-way calls for you.
Yes, he's done several of them for me, and I've had others. Alan Johnston's done a number of my calls, and Lisa Pulliam and several others. But I've really gotten a good connection with Robert White lately, and so it's been a good thing for him, and I'm learning from him as well. So it's we're excited about that.
Well, I'm excited about OCL. I mean, that's potentially a brand new consultant. That is awesome.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's so we've had an excellent few days already. It's just been so much fun, and so we'll see. Tomorrow's going to be real interesting because I'm putting in a full day at work, and we'll see how that all comes out. But I've got it all lined up, and I will put on my big smiley face and make it happen, and that's all we can do. So.
Well, I'm telling you, you are an example to us all. At someone who's pushing 70, who's out there carpet cleaning 15,000 square feet and then coming home and running a business like this. I'm sorry, guys, but none of you got any excuses, all right? Just shush, suck it up, and get on with it. This is what we all do. So good. And Frank is your example. So wait.
Oh, my, that's a lot.
To get it done.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got that's everything for today, correct?
Yeah, that's it. We're good. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, my friend. Well, thank you very much this is another late one, but this is really important. It's important that we get it done. And as you said earlier on in the call, you've got more done in the last 3 days than you have in the past month. And it is interesting how structure transforms everything. So. So I appreciate you getting on the call. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Don't break anything or twist anything. Hopefully I'm not tempting any fates here, but do take it easy. Use the younger guys to help you where it's a little too heavy or a little too whatever. I certainly do, and I'm 52, so anything I can give it to the younger muscles, I'll do it. But thank you so much, my friend, and I'll see you on the
You're welcome.
Call tomorrow night.
Sounds good. See you.
All right, my friend. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.